people, I am Adesuwa Osuyi, and this is My Heritage or TOS TV network, your digital-first Pan-African network. Africa has so much to offer to both Africans and the international community, largely in the lines of tradition, culture, food, religion, language, as well as tourism. And it is my job here on My Heritage to show you just that, and maybe more. Today, we will be taking a virtual trip to what should be one of Africa's top travel destinations, the one African country that was never colonized, Ethiopia. Yes, I will be taking you on a trip to Ethiopia, where you get to meet the people, learn the culture, tradition, and maybe their language too. Not leaving out the tourist attraction sites, plus a few extra details to help you get by in the event you find yourself in Ethiopia. Buckle up, people! It's about to be one heck of a ride. Let's start with a brief history lesson. In March 1896, Italian troops attempted to enter Ethiopia forcibly, but were routed by Emperor Menelik and his army, the infamous Battle of Adwa. The Battle of Adwa, which preserved Ethiopia's independence, was the only victory of an African army over a European army during the partitioning of Africa, making Ethiopia the only African country never to have been colonized, although an Italian occupation occurred from 1936 to 1941. Amazing, isn't it? Also, the country was one of the most powerful empires in the ancient world, along with Rome, Persia, and China. Ethiopia is said to be the origin of mankind. Lucy, the oldest and most complete hominid ever discovered, dating back from more than 3 million years ago, was found in Ethiopia, in the Afar Depression. Ethiopia is a multicultural and multi-ethnic country. Religion is a major influence in Ethiopian life. Nearly half the population belongs to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, but there is also a large Muslim population. Others adhere to an ancient form of Judaism. Ethiopia is the only country in the world that has 13 calendar months. It's for this reason that Ethiopia has been nicknamed the country with 13 months of sunshine. Ethiopians exhibit strong traditional values. They are conservative and modest. To them, it is important to be polite and respectful. Ethiopians generally pride themselves as a culture of hospitality, and that's exhibited in the traditional coffee ceremony.
Coffee is not only a delicious beverage in Ethiopia, it is an essential component of Ethiopian culture and society. An Ethiopian coffee ceremony begins with green coffee beans that are roasted right in front of your nostrils. It only takes moments until the beans begin to produce an intoxicating fragrance. When the beans are smoking in the pan, the host offers all drinkers a chance to inhale the fumes, pouring from the roasting coffee beans. It's an opportunity to fully ingest their delicious aroma and to heighten your anticipation of the coffee. After the beans are fully roasted, the host grounds the beans, traditionally using a mortar and pestle, and then adds the powder to a special Ethiopian clay coffee pot. As the coffee slowly brews, frankincense sap is burned on hot coals to produce yet another aromatic incense that adds to the already heavenly smells. It's easy to fall into a coffee daze, dreaming about the coffee and drooling for your first sip. Luckily, an Ethiopian coffee ceremony is served with a bowl of fresh popcorn. Now, I'm not sure exactly how the tradition first began, but I think the popcorn is served to keep you from drooling as you anticipate the ambrosial coffee that's being prepared. Brewing Ethiopian coffee takes time. The pot is heated to a boil multiple times, and the host tests it to confirm that it's of utmost quality before being poured into the cups. Many Ethiopians drink their coffee black with just a spoon of sugar. When the sugar is placed in the cups, you know it's almost time. When the coffee is finally ready, the host carefully pours it into small demi-tasse glasses, stirs in the sugar, and then hands each cup out for the first round of pure Ethiopian coffee ecstasy.
Okay, let's get right into tourism. I initially thought Ethiopia was a well-known tourist country in Africa, but was surprised to find out that many people have absolutely no clue about it, especially non-Africans. But even though little is known about this African country, the biggest reason to visit Ethiopia is for its exceptionally diverse experience. Let me give you a quick brief. On one hand, the cultural diversity is huge. In Ethiopia, there are 80 distinct ethnic groups who speak over 80 languages and practice different religions, from different branches of Christianity to Islam and animistic beliefs. On the other hand, Ethiopia is a historically rich country with the most impressive historical and archaeological sites in sub-Saharan Africa. It once was the capital of the Aksumite Empire, one of the most powerful ancient empires on the continent that ruled for more than 800 years, and home to endless jaw-dropping millennial rock-hewn churches and European-like medieval castles. Furthermore, contrary to any Western cliché, Ethiopia is also a land of natural contrast, from the blue Nile Falls to world-class archaeological sites and friendly and welcoming people. Ethiopia is a country you will fall in love with. This African nation is also home to one of the planet's most famous destinations for adrenaline junkies, the Erta-Ale volcano. The Erta-Ale is a continuously active volcano in the middle of a scorching desert. Though one of the most inhospitable areas in the continent, it is so unique and fascinating that many decide to make the trip here every year, regardless of the harsh conditions. Honestly, traveling to Ethiopia is the most diverse African travel experience. There is also the Danakil Depression, one of the country's highlights. The country has 9 registered UNESCO World Heritage attractions. Ethiopia's city contains a wealth of exciting attractions and festivities for you to explore, such as the unique Meskel True Cross celebration in Addis Ababa. However, to really experience the culture and history, you would need to head to the countryside to explore some of the many stunning World Heritage attractions in Ethiopia. Many of these protected locations not only contain clues to unravel Ethiopia's past, but also to help understand the history of the entire world and human evolution as well. First, I'll show you the Aksum, Ethiopia's ancient kingdom located close to Ethiopia's recently reopened border with Eritrea in the extreme north of the country. These ancient ruins represent the last remains of the powerful Aksumite kingdom, which dominated the world from the 1st to the 8th century AD. These impressive Ethiopian World Heritage sites boast a variety of intriguing artifacts. Most notable is the over 23 meters high monolithic obelisk. What's interesting is many tourists visit Aksum in search of the Ark of the Covenant, the biblical artifact which is said to have been brought to Ethiopia by the son of the Queen of Sheba and held under guard near the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in this ancient city. Then there's Gondar, nicknamed the Camelot of Ethiopia. This city, near Lake Tana, is the northwest and home to the ruins of the fortress city of Fasel Gebi, the residence of Ethiopia's emperors during the 16th and 17th centuries. The compound is surrounded by an ancient 900-meter-long wall and boasts the well-preserved remains of various royal castles in the unique Nubian style. Visitors often feel as though they've been transported back to medieval Europe, but without leaving Africa. Another historic site is the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela. The rock-cut churches of Lalibela can be found close to this holy city in the north of Ethiopia. This series of jaw-dropping monolithic churches were carved directly into a rocky cliff between the 12th and 13th century. The Lalibela churches are considered a place of holy pilgrimage in Ethiopia, and visitors should at least pay a visit to St. George's Cathedral, the best preserved specimen, which is said to have been built on orders from none other than God himself. You should take a stroll around Harajugo, the fortified historic town found close to the border with Somalia in the east of the country. This sacred holy city is surrounded by 13th century fortified walls and boasts over 82 mosques, 3 of which date back as far as the 10th century. However, this historic city really earns its World Heritage Site status through the intricately designed merchant townhouses that reflects the diversity of this long-time trading post. Don't leave Harajugo without visiting the cultural center dedicated to famous French poet Arthur Rimbaud, who once made his home in the city, or attending a nighttime hyena feeding show just outside the ancient walls. Also, explore the lower Awash Valley, around 300 kilometers north of Addis Ababa. Some of the most significant paleoanthropological discoveries on the African continent have been made in this area, some dating back as much as 3 million years. These include the unearthing of the bones of Lucy, an early human whose discovery has greatly boosted theories of evolution. Though a replica of Lucy's skeleton can now be seen in the National Museum of Ethiopia in Addis Ababa, it's worth paying a visit to the site anyway to explore the ongoing excavations. You might even find a fossil or two for yourself. Whereas many of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Ethiopia are remnants of the country's distant past, you can experience real living history at the Conso Cultural Landscape near the border with Kenya, full of striking traditional villages built on extensive dry stone terraces used for agriculture. The Conso Cultural Landscape is a living cultural tradition that stretches back over 400 years and 21 generations. One of the standout features of the area is the Daga Hela, large stone megaliths that continue to be constructed and used in rituals by the native Kansu tribes people, as well as the Waka anthropomorphic wooden statues the Kansu erect to commemorate the deceased. Take a look. If you've ever been curious about experiencing a way of life completely different from the Western world, then the Lower Omo Valley is a must visit in Ethiopia. It is home to a variety of indigenous tribes. Visitors can take a tour of the traditional settlements and get to know the local customs. This UNESCO World Heritage attraction also includes the Kanso and Fejej paleontological research locations, where ancient stone tools and fossils supporting theories of human evolution have also been uncovered. Just 2-hour drive south of Addis Ababa is an Ethiopian World Heritage attraction that could give the famous Stonehenge in England a run for its money. Home to the Tia megalith of Ethiopia, the Tia archaeological site is a series of standing stones carved with cryptic symbols attributed to an ancient Ethiopian civilization. Although presumed to be of funerary significance, these stone structures remain a mystery. More reason you should visit, so you could try to figure them out for yourself. Moving on, there are a number of fantastic festivals in Ethiopia throughout the year. You may want to plan your visit for a time when you could attend one of their most important cultural festivals. Trust me, if you're lucky enough to be traveling during these celebrations, experience at least one. Like the Gena, the Ethiopian Christmas that takes place on January 7th. Ghana is mainly a family-oriented holiday, and people in the countryside still maintain the tradition of playing Yegena Chawata, a hockey-like game following the prior evening service. According to tradition, Yegena Chawata is believed to have been played by the shepherds on the night Jesus was born. If you're traveling during this time, Aksum and Lalibela are among the best places to be. Timkat, Ethiopia's Orthodox Christian celebration that takes place on January 20th, commemorates the baptism of Jesus by John the Baptist in River Jordan, and is the most colorful festival of the year. What makes this 3 days festival very unique is that it is the only time when Tabot, a replica of the biblical Ark of the Covenant containing the 10 Commandments, is taken out from every church throughout the country. Meskel, Ethiopia's religious holiday that takes place at the end of September, is one of the biggest religious festivals among Ethiopian Orthodox followers, commemorating a 4th century event where Empress Helena, mother of Constantine the Great, discovered the true cross on which Jesus Christ was crucified. This festival is also registered with UNESCO as an element of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The centerpiece of this unique festival is the lighting of a massive conical bonfire called a damera, and all the dancing and feasting surrounding it. The largest Mescal gathering takes place in Addis Ababa's Mescal Square. Last but not least is Enkuntatash. The Ethiopian New Year, celebrated on 11th September, falls on the date that the Queen of Sheba allegedly arrived back in Aksum after visiting King Solomon in Jerusalem. In many places, children dressed in new clothes dance through the neighborhood, distributing paintings mainly of angels. They will then be given bread or money in return for the New Year wish. Another intriguing thing you could do in Ethiopia is trekking among tens of thousands of baboons in Simeon, feeding wild hyenas in Hara, or assisting an actual bull jumping ceremony. A traditional ceremony celebrated by the Hamar tribe, one of the many tribes in the Omo Valley, in which a young boy jumps naked over 10 bulls in order to prove that he is ready to be married. Before the actual ceremony, there is a party in which people from all the nearby settlements gather to drink, dance, and do some other cultural stuff. You could also pay the Mercy people a visit. That's the tribe whose women wear plates in their lips. Meanwhile, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia's sprawling capital city, hosts the headquarters of the African Union, as well as the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. It is the country's commercial and cultural hub. Ethiopians are generally lovely, kind-hearted people who are always willing to help or simply have a chat with you. Although there are about 80 languages spoken in Ethiopia, Amharic is their official language, though in most towns they largely speak okay English. I mean, just enough English to get by. Now let's talk food, one of my favorite things to talk about. Traditional Ethiopian food is largely healthy, mainly composed of stewed vegetables and a protein bread called injera. The most popular foods in Ethiopia, and I think you should try them out when out there, are bayanet, tibs, shirowat, shirotegamino, dorowat, and kitar firfir. However, the lake fish wrapped in injera bread is one of the best local meals you'll have in Ethiopia. Many restaurants usually serve pasta, pizza, and burgers, but don't have high expectations for those. If you like to stick with what you know, you can find good international food in Addis Ababa. Expensive by Ethiopian standards, but good. In Ethiopia, the currency is the Ethiopian birr. $1 is approximately 37 Ethiopian birr. Note, though, that Ethiopians are very religious people. So besides the 40 days of Lent, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church also recognizes every Wednesday and Friday as fasting days, meaning that most restaurants will only serve vegetarian dishes. One last thing, although traveling to Ethiopia on a backpacking budget is considerably cheap, Ethiopia is an adventurous region, so make sure to choose a proper backpacking insurance that covers adventure activities such as climbing, hiking, trekking, and the likes. Meanwhile, you can visit Ethiopia from any part of the world, as Addis Ababa is a common stop for many flights going to other African destinations and the Middle East as well. You can also travel to Ethiopia by land, as Ethiopia shares border with many African countries. But whether you're flying or going overland, that's by land, make sure you have your visa. There are Ethiopian embassies and consulates in many cities across Europe, Africa, and North America. Contact one nearest to you to ask about the process, which frankly is quite easy. You also get a 50% discount on domestic flights within Ethiopia if you visit the country using Ethiopian Airline. That's the country's one airline. Before I leave you, let us take one more look at some of the beautiful places you should absolutely visit while in Ethiopia. coming on this trip with me. Don't worry, I'm committed to helping you discover and explore Africa. But to see more, you have to follow and like TOS TV Network across all social media platforms. And also subscribe to TOS TV on YouTube. Watch TOS News on TSTV channel 138. I am Adesua Osuyi. Thank you for joining me.